Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the regular monthly business meeting of the McCandless Town Council to order. With the invocation by Councilman Powers, you may stand if you're so inclined.
Dear Lord, we seek your help with our affairs today. Bless this meeting with your divine guidance and help us to make the best use of our own. We are of diverse opinions, yet we wish to blend our differences and reach a well-reasoned agreement. Please share your wisdom with us to help us to do right by all concerned. Thank you for all your heavenly blessings. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Powers, for the invocation. Announcements, Councilman Ledon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's with considerable, I don't even need a microphone. It's with considerable honor, privilege, and pride that tonight we have with us a young police officer from the town of McCandless who not only serves the town and has done so quite admirably for the last several years, but has recently retired after 30 years of service with the United States National Guard, the Pennsylvania chapter of the United States National Guard, and is now this evening being honored by the Pittsburgh Quilts of Valor for his military service, having been awarded 2 Bronze Stars on missions while serving on 2 separate deployments to Iraq. Now I would like to present Ms. Georgette Temme, Chief David DeSanti, and from our police department, the recipient of the award, Todd Ray. Please approach the podium. Thank you. And now, Ms. Georgette Temme for the presentation.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting us to be here. It's quite an honor for us to be in your presence. The mission of the Quilts of Valor Foundation is to cover all service members and veterans that were touched by war with wartime quilts called Quilts of Valor. This foundation is not about politics, it is about people. Blue Star mom, Catherine Roberts, began the Quilts of Valor Foundation from her sewing room in Seaford, Delaware in 2003. Her son was deployed to Iraq, and that provided her initial inspiration to begin this group. It was her desire to see that returning warriors were welcomed home with the love and the gratitude that they deserved. Since 2003, over 158,000 Quilts of Valor have been awarded across the United States and throughout Europe. North Pittsburgh Quilts of Valor is located in Allison Park near Hartwood Acres and was started in September of 2010. To date, we have awarded 775 quilts. Officer Todd Ray, on behalf of your service, not only to our country, but to the police force, you are a serving spirit, and that is shown in all that you have done and all that you will probably continue to do with your life. So on behalf of North Pittsburgh Quilts of Valor, we would be honored for you to receive this quilt. And to the spirit of Quilts of Valor,
Todd, Chief, any comments?
First and foremost, I just consider it a privilege and an honor to recognize my team. And these kind of things, when you are a leader, make you proud. And I'm very proud of the officers who serve. And Todd, I'm very proud of you as a McCandless policeman and what you've done for the country. And I want to tell Todd, Todd's a very shy guy. When I talked about this, he really didn't want to be involved in this. I had to kind of move him along, but he is a very shy, humble man and a good servant, and I'm really, really proud of you, and God bless you. Thanks so much, I appreciate it.
Quick story, if I may. My wife was just tugging on my shirt right before I came in here. And she said, hey, whatever you do, do not let them wrap you in that blanket. And she said, seeing how you're dressed. She said, just don't do that. And I said, why? She said, whatever you do. She said, I'm not going to get any photos that require you to be wrapped in that blanket. I said, why not? I said, why? What's the concern here? And she said, it's National Pig in a Blanket Day. But thank you so much. I greatly appreciate for you and your organization for everything that you've done and to give me this recognition. Thank you, Chief DeSanti. The transition has been great as far as him being our chief, and I want to express that as well. So thank you, and thanks for everybody.
It's very proud. I'm very proud of somebody in the town of McCandless that gets an award like this. It only shows that we not only work in the town, we work nationally too. Thank you for your service. Moving right along, we'll go to item number 5.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the minutes of council's regular business meeting of March 27, 2017, as submitted to each member of council.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion by any member on council? Any questions by anyone in the audience? Hearing none, I'll call for a question on the motion. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving right along to reports of committees. The Finance Committee. Councilwoman Pyre.
Mr. Chairman, I move to ratify check listing number 4, dated March 17th, 2017, through April 11th, 2017, totaling $932,958.49, as submitted to each member of council and as posted on the bulletin board and town website.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any questions by any member on council? Any questions by anyone in the audience? Hearing none, we'll call for a question on the motion. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. No further business, Councilwoman Powers?
No further business.
All right. The Zoning Committee, Councilman McCandless.
I move to approve a lot line revision for the Niesel plan of lots revised located at 10020 and 10050 Rinneman Road, which is just north of the Bloom Avenue along Rinneman Road, as per file number 35654, sheet 1 of 1, prepared by Tate Engineering, dated February 7th, 2017, with the latest revision being April 5th, 2017.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Motion is moved and seconded. Any discussion by anyone on council?
This has been discussed before council several times and had been discussed at the planning commission thoroughly. It's pretty straightforward in terms of the revision of this plan, the lines.
Okay, is there any comments by anyone in the audience? Hearing none, we'll call for a question on the motion. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public Works Committee, Councilman Mertz.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt resolution number 7 of the 2017 series, a resolution authorizing council president and town secretary/manager to sign the American Disabilities Act, ADA, curb ramp contribution agreement between the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Department of Transportation, PennDOT, and the town to support schedule improvements on SR 4003, Section A16 McKnight Road by PennDOT, which includes roadway alterations for resurfacing, signal replacement, and pedestrian facilities at the intersections with Arcadia Drive, Blazer Drive, Pine Creek Road, and which authorizes the town to reimburse PennDOT for the town's estimated share of $7,592 to construct and update pedestrian facilities to current ADA accessibility standards at these intersections.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there discussion any question by anyone on audio and on the council?
May I have a comment, sir?
Yes.
For the benefit of the audience, we were notified by PennDOT not too long ago that they intended to upgrade the intersection at Blazer Drive. And then they added to the project the upgrades as are spoken in this motion to Pine Creek Road's intersection with McKnight and Arcadia's as well. And then that brought in an element to the work that they have, which is the ADA, the Americans for Disabilities Act ramps, need to be either amended or installed. And for a project that we do not have a specific estimate because it's PennDOT's project, it's a federally funded project, there'll be some state funds involved. There's a small portion for us to be responsible for, and that is the amount listed in this motion and the resolution, $7,592. The bulk of the project, the significant share is by PennDOT.
Is there any comments by anyone in the audience? Hearing none, I'll call for a question on the motion. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Recreation Committee.
Move to adopt resolution number 8 of the 2017 series, a concurring resolution conferring that the town of McCandless formally requests a gaming economic development fund grant for proposed improvements to reconfigure several of the ball fields at the Vincentia Recreational Complex by lengthening fields 1 and 5 to provide for a safer and age-appropriate level of play for girls softball and older boys baseball, to fund $314,200 of the $995,000 estimated costs, with the balance to be funded by a $19,000 commitment of the town funds already budgeted toward work at the Vincentian Complex, and a $17,795 from the McCandless Athletic Association. Designates an official to perform the required duties between the town and the redevelopment authority of the Allegheny County, authorizes the executive and delivery of any and all agreements between the applicant and the RAAC, and reassures where applicants to the provision of local matching funds.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Is there any questions by anyone on council?
Comment, please.
Another one?
Yes.
Go ahead.
There's only two. If everyone please notice that this is a revised agenda. The reason for that is that this is a grant request that runs parallel to a request that we filed 2 months ago from a different grant source. And this source was made, we were told that there used to be a minimum grant amount that was permitted under this GEDF funding, which was $500,000. And that floor was lifted. I was advised by some county employees. It really paid to get the training we got recently at the Allegheny League of Municipalities conference, because I was at their booth and they told me about this. So I came back and reported the information to council. And the reason for the revision is that it occurred to me a little late in the game, but I talked to our engineer on Friday that since the scoreboard work had been cut from the original grant request, because there's a limit on that grant request of $250,000, if we're going to apply for this money, why not reinstate that in this grant request? So that's what we've done. Our engineers quickly came up with the cost to the potential revision on of that work, and that's why there's an additional $64,200 in this grant request over the original one.
Thank you, Mr. Cordy. Any other comments from anyone on council? Any comments from anyone in the audience? Hearing none, we'll call for a question on that motion. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. New business. Do we have any new business to come before the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to public comment. Is there anyone wishes to address the board?
My name is Rita Martin, and I live on Brooks Road. And I first want to thank Kim Zachary for speaking up during a public safety meeting almost a year ago, suggesting that McCandless get information to the citizens of McCandless about the opioid crisis. It was your concern which initiated the forum on April 17th. And I want to compliment you, Toby, because what you put together that evening was incredible. You coordinated everything beautifully. That presentation, as you say, was so well received by our community, and it was much needed and very well done. Thank you so much. It's a tough topic, and most people want to sweep it under the rug, but Kim, you were brave enough to push for it, and I thank you for that, both of you. It was great for everybody that attended, because I saw most of you there. It was good. That was something positive, but I want to make one more comment about the spending on our schoolhouse. One more for the record. Those of you who voted for this, it was initially $100,000. It was never, oversight was never practiced as the costs continued to mount. And to emphasize the disparity between responsible spending and what I think was irresponsible, there was an article in the paper on April 6th that the North Hills School Board awarded a $2.4 million contract to build an addition to one of their elementary schools. They will gain 8,566 square feet of space and 8 classrooms for $2.4 million. McCandless Township gets one tiny room for almost $600,000, or close to $1 million, depending on how you count the monies. The funny money way these costs were embedded into the budget and the obfuscating manner in which they were explained is not good, and it's not, I don't feel, good municipal leadership, and I would like that to stop. I'd like for you to present to the citizens, a presentation, comprehensive presentation on the cost and the annual operating costs on the front end. That's what transparency is all about. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else wish to comment?
Good evening. My name is Bill Kirkham. I live at 198 Ridgeview Drive. I attended the last general council meeting, and I heard a number of things that really concerned me. And I just heard some of them repeated now, so I thought it was important that I take the time, not comment last month because I didn't have all the information, to take the time to research, get all the facts, and then share that with everyone so that at least we're all working from the same set of facts. We can certainly have different opinions, but we shouldn't have different facts. And I guess the first place to start is this idea that there was a $100,000 budget. And I saw someone awaiting minutes at the board last month, and I saw surprised looks on people's faces that how did this $100,000 get into the minutes? Well, the first thing that I learned when I researched this was that it wasn't your meeting. This was a planning commission meeting. I don't think anybody at this table, council-wise, was there. It was never voted on as a budget. Back in 2014, at the July 1st, 2014 planning commission meeting, that offhanded comment was made, and it wasn't specifically quoted or attributed to anyone. It just ended up in the minutes. I actually found, I guess it was 6 months prior to that, actually in January of 2014, a reference, and this was actually in your agenda review meeting, that referenced a cost cost of over $200,000 for the project. Now let me be clear. This was prior to even engaging the architect. This was what's known as a conceptual budget. And I think everybody was working off of the best information, the best square footage numbers that they could. That's how these things are developed. But let's be fair. Nobody started at $100,000 at a $100,000 budget. In fact, I just ran some quick calculations, and I appreciate your comments, Mrs. Martin. But 2.4 million square feet, or $2.4 million for 8,000 square feet is over $250 a square foot for that school project that you said was well run. We have a museum here over 3,800 square feet. If you include all of the volunteer donations at roughly $600,000, you're at $155 a square foot. The actual cost of our taxpayers was less than $62 a square foot for the facility. And let me make another point and be clear about this. When we speak of cost and spending, it doesn't really properly attribute the way this money was used. This was not spent on some program. This was invested in a piece of real estate that will grow. When I look at that building, and I look at that, and it's an amazing building, and it basically symbolizes the bedrock of any community, which is our schools. It's our churches and our schools that are the foundation of our communities. I'm really proud to have that as a symbol sitting right at the gateway to one of the most beautiful vistas, scenic drives in Allegheny County, which is Inglemoor Road that runs right along North Park Lake. I can't imagine a building there with a flat roof. I'm so glad that you built it the way you did, and as efficiently as you did. As far as this idea that there was no plan, as I went back and I reviewed the minutes again, and I appreciate that everyone can't remember everything because the notes in the minutes are voluminous. But let me be clear. The town had already outlined a set of core documents as early as May of 2014. Again, this was actually before they'd even engaged an architect. So there absolutely was a plan. The core document outlines included things like an institutional code of ethics, strategic institutional planning, collections management policy, a mission statement, disaster preparedness. Let's be clear, by 2016, in addition to being affiliated with the Heinz History Museum, the town was already affiliated and linked with the Smithsonian Museum. This is a project that we absolutely should be celebrating, all of this, whether we thought of it first or not. Let's at least give credit where credit is due. We have a beneficent community here who came together over the last couple of years to create something marvelous. We built more than a museum out there. We built a community. Does anyone on this council disagree with the fact that we engage dozens of our children, boys and girls, to work together to build that museum? Does anyone here disagree with that? With that workforce investment program that we turned that into? Of course not. Of course not. Thousands and thousands of hours were put into that. And when you look at the final cost, I'm very, very proud of what you did. And I just hope that the facts can just be properly aired in their proper context. And if we want to disagree about elements of the project, let's do that. But let's do it categorically and let's do it fairly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kirk. Any more public comments?
Christine Shipley, 9690 Buckingham Drive. So I want to say thank you for building the Heritage Center. I have no children. I've never had children. I pay $5,000 to $6,000 a year in taxes to send who to school. So to me, in 10 years' time, that's $60,000. I'm glad you built that Heritage Center. That's something that I can enjoy, something for me. So I really appreciate that. And I think it's sad that you people, you have no clue that this is a heritage thing, that we should schools. So this little piece of history and this memorabilia in this Heritage Center is a wonderful thing. Thank you. Something for me and people that do not have children. I appreciate it.
I wasn't planning on speaking, but after everything I've heard, Georgiana Lycar, Rups Road, Wexford, been here 28 years. I don't have any children either. I didn't move here for the school district. I didn't move here for some of the other reasons that people do have families, but I thought it was a nice, safe, wonderful area to live in. And I really was looking forward to, until the whole Walmart situation, having some type of input on what happens in my town, because I, again, don't have children and pay high taxes to live here. As a result, luckily the flat roof Walmart is gone, but now we have this so-called beautiful entrance to North Park, but we didn't have a referendum on it. I'm not opposed to any type of museums of any type or schools and whatnot, but I really believe the people should have had a choice in this matter and had some type of decision-making process before this was built. Personally, I would have liked to have seen a senior center or some type of community center instead of this. I don't see this piece of land expanding into something beautiful and glorious. I don't know, unless you do have plans that I don't know about, and if you do, I would appreciate if you do let us have some input. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Hi, I'm Deborah Sagan, and I live at Parkland Drive, and I was not planning on speaking tonight either, but I do have to respond. Just some of the comments I heard, I don't think that we're clueless. I take offense to that. I have also been following the construction of the History Center, and I have mixed feelings about it, I have to say. I understand where council was coming from. However, I do feel that as a citizen of McCandless, I would have liked to have more forewarning or referendum about this spending, especially as it approaches such a large amount. And I went back, and thank you for posting the budget and the timeline of the budget on the website so that we could go back and see. And I did see at the beginning of 2014 that $200,000 was budgeted. And so that was the figure I was going on, not some random figure that somebody quoted from the newspaper, that the plan, and it was stated at a planning commission meeting, as Mr. Kirk said, which is an entity of the council. So there should have been a council person there. Isn't there a council person at the planning commission meetings? So, we can throw facts and figures around all evening, but, we have the budget timeline that is on the website. And I don't think we're dumping money into the schools. I was a teacher for 35 years. I do not have children in the district. I've never had children. The schools and the community work together. And that's sort of what this is about, hopefully. But the spending is, I think, what we have to look at under a little bit closer eye. The other thing I want to say is we were told at a meeting that I attended that there was no plan for this. There might have been a skeletal plan, oh, this is nice, we can reach out to the Heinz History Center, but that was directly asked the evening that the person was here from the library and the History Center, and we were told, somebody asked that question, and there was no plan. There was no spending budget. So I was here and heard that, and if that is incorrect, please, let's set the record straight once and for all with the facts, as you said. So I appreciate it, and we'll see on May 20th. And thank you for the invitation to attend the opening. Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 9.
Mr. Chairman, I move to enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters.
Second.
Been moved and second to enter into executive session. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll go to executive session.